Geology on Mars, Lesson 2.1, Investigating Landforms on Venus. Activity 2, Introducing Active Reading. Here's what your student screen looks like for this part of the lesson. Remember, your mission is to find out what geologic process formed the channel on Mars. If flowing water formed it, that means Mars once had the liquid water needed to support life. In the previous lesson, we discussed the need for effective evidence to be able to figure out whether flowing water or flowing lava formed the channel on Mars. In the next few lessons, we will think about ways scientists get evidence about processes that are difficult to observe, such as those on other planets. Chapter 2 question: how can we gather more evidence about whether lava or water formed the channel on Mars? Next, we'll read an article about Venus, another rocky planet. A scientist observed interesting landforms on Venus and wanted to get evidence about the process that created them. The article will explain how the scientist gathered evidence about landforms on Venus. We'll apply what we learned to understand how we can gather more evidence about whether lava or water formed the channel on Mars. Earth scientists read a lot. They read about investigations other scientists have done and to learn more about Earth and space science. They read carefully and critically, making sure that they understand the ideas. Active reading is a way of reading science texts that is similar to how scientists read. This approach is called active reading because you will think very deeply as you read, so you can actively try to understand what you're reading. As you might have noticed, science texts can be difficult to read. They contain words and concepts that may be new or complicated. That is why it's especially important to read deeply and carefully. In class, you would raise your hand if you have ever read something for class but realized you didn't actually remember or didn't try to really understand what you were reading. At home, that's just something you need to think about right now. Why do you think that happens? If you have a digital partner, discuss why you think this happens. Reading without paying attention or understanding what you've read is actually very common. But in this class, I want you to read actively. Annotating a text means recording your own thinking as you read. This is an article that a student annotated while reading. Notice the example annotations include highlighting, comments, and questions. The student annotated both the text and the diagram. Annotating a text helps readers keep track of what they are thinking and helps them remember the ideas and concepts they are reading. Looking over example annotations will help us get a sense of the thought process involved in active reading. Here's an example of how annotations can look in a digital version of the article. If you have a digital partner, read the annotations and quickly discuss the questions. This student annotated the article by recording questions about specific parts of the text, including a visual representation. This shows that the student was thinking deeply about what they were reading. End of activity. Be sure to complete all your student work in Amplify for this activity before moving on.